Namaste. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for coming to share and practice today. I'm hoping that each of you could take a moment to gather for yourselves some type of strap. And it doesn't have to be a yoga strap. It can be a belt. It can be a towel, anything that could help to, or a tie even, anything that can help to make your arms just a little bit longer. We're going to go ahead and use this to open our practice today. So have that nearby. And before we recline, we're going to take a moment just to allow ourselves to arrive. So finding a comfortable seat, however that is for you this morning. Sitting up nice and tall and allowing your eyes to close. Drawing the attention inward, we begin to let the mind settle into the space of the practice. And we share a collective breath cycle together, inhaling through the nose, fill all the way up. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. Repeating like that, breathing in deeply and fully, inhale all the way up. Exhale, sigh it out the mouth, release that breath, the shoulders, the body. Once more like that right here, full inhalation, sitting nice and tall. Exhaling completely, letting everything go. And simply allowing ourselves to be in stillness. Recognize already that through an upright seated position, we are already among our practice. We are already doing the work. So it can be very challenging to encourage the mind to stay with the present moment, the present experience. And simply by taking a few breath cycles here, we allow ourselves to get better and better at that process. Let's take hands to heart center with the palms to press. And perhaps take this time to set an intention for your practice. So anything that calls to you along the lines of drawing the mind back to the present moment, to our daily lives, to the ways that the body feels, to the ways that we react to others. So perhaps an intention to allow the practice to be. We'll seal in that together with the sound of a single Om. One more inhalation to sit it nice and tall. And together on that exhale breath. Releasing the hands. Allowing eyes to open, light to come in. Go ahead and take that strap or extension of your arms, have that nearby. We're going to go ahead and recline down onto back body. Hooray. So another option, if you happen to be practicing near a wall, you're also welcome to bring your legs up the wall. We are going to keep the knees bent here for a moment. So same is true if your legs are on the wall, you're welcome to keep your knees bent. And from here, we'll go ahead and take that strap or that towel or that tie and place it around the ball joint of the right foot. Extending that heel up toward the sky and keeping a soft bend in that knee. So don't feel that you need to force an extension of the leg just yet, especially perhaps in the first time of your day. And then just let your arms slide down the length of that prop so that the backs of your arms can be resting and supported on the earth. So we're not here in this shape to give us a lot of excessive sensation, we'll say. There's plenty of excess with the temperatures, with this time of year, with the heat, with the long daylight, with all the things that we're doing. So let this be a moment to do a little bit less and to take the attention into those more softer, subtle layers of the body. So again, even just by being here, know that there's some work happening. Hopefully you can just sense the inversion of the leg. You can start to almost imagine toxins and fluid draining down from the foot and reducing swelling, fatigue of the ankles, the knees. And we're going to allow and invite now some small circles with that heel. So just choosing your favorite direction here and making them as small as possible. So you might have noticed when you began, the circle right away went to something big and dramatic, and we want to instead soften that, quiet that, bring it down a little bit smaller, and then take your attention once you're tracing something the size of a quarter, maybe even a dime, to the way that the pressure shifts around in the hip socket. And we start to allow ourselves to notice a very gentle massage at the hip socket as the weight of the leg is being received into the pelvis, and we bring in this very quiet movement. We're sort of just awakening and enlivening down into those deeper layers. Now, take a pause wherever you are. Inhale to enhance your sensation to the next degree, just a subtle stretch perhaps through the heel. Taking both ends of the strap or the tie into your left hand, go ahead and cross the heel just beyond the midline of the body. So that might only be an inch or two. It doesn't take much. And we'll go ahead and encourage toes to be drawing their way toward the crown of the head. So gentle mechanism of action there by the heel coming toward the top of the skull while still reaching away from the earth, and really sensing that it doesn't take a big range of motion to have a specific experience. Go ahead now and bend that knee. You might choose to release the strap if it's comfortable to reach your foot. Taking a half happy baby here, Ananda Balasana, inviting knee to direct in the towards the armpit. Outside of your rib cage is brushing against the inner thigh. And we're just gathering the top of the thigh in the direction of the earth. Notice if your left knee wants to fall out to the side. We'll keep that aligned, pointing up to the sky. And then hugging now this right knee into the chest, extending the left leg long, give it a nice squeeze, massaging ascending colon. Inhale, breath here, flex through the heel of your left foot, get tall through your crown, yes, even when you're reclined. As you exhale, hug the right knee in a little bit deeper, hold it at that depth. Take one more round like that, an inhalation to stretch beyond the heel of your left foot, get tall. And an exhalation to squeeze, massage, compress everything in a little more. At the bottom of the exhale breath, releasing that. Bend the left knee once more, get the sole of the foot on the earth. We're gonna pick up the hips, shift them slightly toward the right, and then keeping that left leg back out away from you, drawing your top knee across the body, taking a nice reclined twist here. So we made a small adjustment with the pelvis. You might want to check in with that as you start to stack one hip on top of the other. Notice if you have any pulling sensation in the low back, and adjust to reduce that by perhaps coming out of your twist a little bit. Think more of letting your shoulders be supported by the earth, both shoulders equally. So again, even if that reduces some of the depth of your stretch, you will be able to come to a place that shifts back into relaxation, allowance, acceptance, and ease. Inhale, breath to return back to center, extending the right leg out long, aligning hips and shoulders together, everything square first. And then take some inventory, do an assessment, and notice how the body is feeling on left and right side. Anywhere that you're experiencing some residual effects from your practice. And we'll work to bring the balance to the other side with the ball of the strap, or the ball joint of the foot in the strap. Extending left leg up toward the sky. Same thing here. You might be starting to feel a little bit anxious or ready to move on in your day, in your practice. You might be starting to sense the impetus to rush, to hurry. We want to shift back into that state of allowing things to be. So bending the right knee, the sole of the foot is on the earth. Feel that grounding quality, quiet the body, quiet the mind. A soft bend in your left knee as the heel's extended up toward the sky. So they're not hyperextending through that joint in any way. And just taking this experience to a level of sensation that is present without being overwhelming. Shift the mind into the breath here. Stay steady in these few moments of quiet, of stillness. Feeling the entire back body supported from the earth beneath. You can even let the back of the head rest a little heavier. And then with a subtle engagement through the heel, taking the sensation to the very next degree, start to lengthen the backside of the leg. Encourage the toes to draw up toward the crown of the head, toward the skull, and taking both sides of the strap this time in your right hand, a little support to draw the heel toward the midline of the body. So it's going to work its way over in the direction of your opposite hip, but probably not even go that far. So think less is more here with this range of motion. Same mechanism of action, that heel is stretching up, the toes are drawing forward, and just start to notice where the body is awakening, where you might be feeling a little bit of resistance. Come back to center. Different order on this side. Let's make those small circles again. Oh yeah, it's kind of nice afterwards too, because now we're going to be sending all those signals of, ooh, I might have been holding, let me let that go. So making your circle, noticing at first how we come charging out of the gate with something big and exciting, and then dial that back, make it small, allow it to be subtle, and notice that just because it softens and it quiets, it doesn't mean that we receive any less. In fact, it gives us the opportunity to receive quite a bit more. Attention to the hip, feeling that massage, that weight of the leg bones. All right, nice. And now you can bend into that knee, Ananda Balasana, half happy baby. So if it's comfortable for you to hold onto the foot, go ahead and take that with your hands or use the strap or the tie. And then encouraging knee to travel in the direction of the armpit to the outside of your rib cage, brushing against the inner thigh. Yes, encouraging that down. And just as you were before, even though the knee is bent, the heel is actively stretching up and the toes are working the Achilles, the backside of your calf, toward the crown of your head. Again, small movements, big sensations. Notice how you feel. Bending the knee more deeply now, releasing heel toward the hip. You can go ahead and hug that in, holding with a clasp of your hands or wrapping the elbow around the outside of the knee. I like to extend my right leg long here to, again, stay in a place that's a little bit softer across the pelvis and broad across the low back. Inhalation now, extension through that straight leg and the crown of the head, long spine, long body. And exhalation to hug, to compress, to squeeze in the thigh closer to the abdomen even more. Descending colon, receiving the massage this time. Again, like that, an inhalation. You might feel the half of your lungs pressing up against your thigh and just getting a little bit of resistance there. It's just going to add to the quality of the massage, that compression. We want that squeeze with the exhale breath to purposefully massage and to help the body detoxify. We're going to take one more cycle like that. Inhale, be tall, be long, and exhale. Nice. I'm bending into the right leg to set the sole of the foot on the earth once more so that I can purposefully adjust my hips closer to the wide edge of the mat, the left side. Bringing that left knee back into the chest, extending right leg long and drawing the knee across the body. A nice reclined twist here, stacking one hip on top of the other and allowing the leg to melt over to the opposite side with gravity. And I can start to feel that my shoulders want to roll into this process. So extending the arms like wings can give you more of an anchor, more of a base. We want to feel the touch point across the broad shoulder girdle and really refine the twist and the release to be happening at the thoracic vertebrae and lumbar. So cervical vertebrae can stay in their natural curve in this place. Soft belly. All of that compression, that squeezing now wringing out. Coming back to center, bending both knees, soles of the feet to the earth to align hips and shoulders once more. Gathering both knees into the chest this time, reach around and give yourself a hug. Small circles to massage the low back, iron out any wrinkles that may have been creeping into that space. And gathering the thighs behind the knees, go ahead and begin now a little rock and roll front to back. So take a big swinging motion with your feet, your ankles here, get a lot of momentum. You'll feel the invitation for the body to follow suit, and you can support this by taking your gaze in toward your navel, keeping the tailbone tucked, making a nice big C curve with the spine. So we take this as many or as few times as you like, at whatever pace feels good. I like a little rocking and rolling at this point to energize the body, to start to awaken from those supine positions, and to give myself just a little bit of boost to get going. So eventually we'll meet together here in this upright seated position, legs extending out long, woo, feeling tall in the spine, having that strap or towel nearby. This time around both legs, the ball joint of each foot, one side of the strap in each hand, elevating spine nice and tall. Now, if you're sensing that the low back is fatigued here without the support of the earth, go ahead and elevate your seat onto a blanket or a towel. You want to encourage the alignment of the pelvis to be as upright as possible without straining the muscles of the back to do all of that work. So engaging through the heels is going to help activate those legs, take an inward spiral of each thigh, and even feel that the quadriceps are alive and engaged. See if you can fan the toes, activate through the legs, and notice with all of this energy in the low half of the body, the pelvis is like, oh, okay, I can hang out here and not have to take so much of that work in my upper back. So just by showing up and being here, as is the theme, we are already doing so much of the work and the practice. We can enhance the depth of our sensation through the breath cycle and inhalation for more length through heels and low back through the crown of the head. So both directions with our lines of energy. Exhalation, bending the elbows, bringing the sternum in front of the biceps, closing of the angle at the low ribs and the thighs. It doesn't take much to feel more. So inhale, re-lengthen in all directions, and exhale, keep the spine long as you just encourage, again, that small closure of the angle at the low ribs and the thighs. So it's almost like we're bringing these two sides of the book together. One more breath cycle here. And exhale. Yay, inhale onto the strap. Come up nice and tall, crossing at those ankles, and we'll roll our way forward onto hands and knees. A few moments here just to loosen through the rest of the spine. Press your palms down, stack the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Inhale, look forward, broaden your collarbones, and exhale, round your spine, chin to chest. A few more with your breath cycle here, feeling the freedom along the length of the spine as we are no longer aligned directly to the earth. And follow your body's intuition if you would like to make this slightly more organic, a side to side, a barrel roll with the chest, anything that is just calling to you to awaken, to bring space. Allow the time to do that, allow the permission. Walking hands forward about an inch or two, bring the shoulders to stack back over those wrists. We again have a wider angle at the hip crease now. Tucking the toes under the body, inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, extend your legs, lift your seat into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, bending one knee then the other, walking in place to pedaling out the feet here. Pressing evenly through your palms, feel that activation through the arms perhaps for the first time in your day. Let's measure distance between hands and feet as we bring the body long, float those shoulders over the wrists. A straight long line from shoulders, hips, and heels. Pausing, grounding into the earth here through all four touch points. And as you exhale, back hinging into that upside down V position, letting the head be heavy. The crown of the head is an extension of your spine. Walking feet up toward the hands, take as many or as few steps as you like to arrive. Blocks, if you have them, books, Tupperware, anything to bring the earth closer to hands. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Press down through your feet to rise up. Sweep your arms out and up. Lift your gaze to follow. And exhale, hands return down by the sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. A couple of shoulder rolls here, alleviating any tension or holding at the cervical vertebrae, the shoulder, the neck. And feeling yourself standing nice and tall with the legs already energized. And a freedom and fluidity in the spine to follow. So with stability comes freedom. When the legs are strong, engaged, and active and grounded, the rest of the body can be light and ease and really feel the body's natural grace. Let's exhale the breath out of the body. Inhale to reach and expand. Lift your arms and your gaze. Exhale, fold over the legs. Uttanasana. Let your head drop down. Unless you're wearing a headset that doesn't want to stay in place, but just be mindful of the neck if the head stays extended. Inhale is going to step this left foot back for a lunge position, hands framing that front foot. Go ahead and exhale to engage your core. See what you can do to get as much lightness off of the top thigh as possible. So even if there's touch points there physically with the body, sense energetically that you are drawing those two parts away from one another. Shoulders are gliding down the back body, collarbones are broad. Bringing the right hand around now, place it at the sacrum at the low back and just get a sense for how much of an angle there is in the pelvis in terms of one side, your left side kind of spilling down toward the earth. So I'm really exaggerating that here. And you can sense that through the touch point of your palm. Make a subtle adjustment so that you can bring that a little bit closer to the same plane. So it's very unlikely that they would be exactly side by side, and that would make sense in our position. You getting a nice stretch while I keep talking? It's just engaging through that point. Once you've got your alignment and the left hand is rooted and down, now take your gaze to the right, encourage the right fingertips to follow, broaden a stretch across the collarbones and the thoracic. And now exhale, frame that front foot. Yes. Stepping the right foot back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, float forward, shoulders over wrists. Hands can be on those blocks. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward between the hands. See how easy that is now? Your body's like, I get it. Push off the back foot, lengthen your spine. Inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Push down through both feet, sweep your arms out and up as you rise. Get tall and long. Exhale through heart center, Tadasana, mountain pose. Notice how crooked we feel. Other side, inhale, reach the arms, lift your gaze. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold. The left foot stays, the right foot goes back. We set ourselves up for the lunge. So now you know we're going to be here for a while. We're going to take the time to be still, to observe and to notice, and let this presence be part of the practice. So extending actively through your right heel, engaging that right leg and feeling all of that length and strength, we'll go ahead and shift the weight into the right palm so the left hand can now sweep back and feel the place of the sacrum. Again, just noticing, is my right side really spilling so far down that there's quite a difference between both halves of my pelvis? And if so, perhaps a shortening of the stance, a re-engagement of that right quadricep, a little bit of engagement at the core to really feel that you're filling up from underneath and rather than sinking down into it. It's not so much about making a straight line back there as it is engaging evenly to support the pelvis in both sides. All right, feeling an equal stretch here now. Let's inhale, look forward, collarbones broad. Exhale, engages that core to step us back into downward facing dog. With the breath, inhale, float forward to plank. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And a simple stepping of the left foot forward now. Notice how easily it swings, it arrives, shoulder or toes and fingertips in line. Exhale, right foot meets the left, lengthen your spine and fold over those legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, lift your gaze. Exhale, hands through heart center, palms open, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Right foot stays, left foot lunge. And take our twist, open to the side. Oh, we're gonna be crooked in that way now too. Close your twist, don't worry, we'll get it. Hug your thumb into the hip crease on your right side now and actively straighten your front leg while pressing the right half of your pelvis back. So we're using hand at the hip crease to encourage now the bones to lengthen away from the heel of the foot, the big toe grounding down. Both legs are straight. And instead, again, of allowing spine to collapse, to melt down into that front thigh, we're going to stay engaged and encourage ourselves to lift the belly and the ribs away from the femur bone. One more inhale breath here. As you exhale, keep your legs straight. Take your hands to the inside of your front foot. Walk your way around to the wide edge of your mat. The feet will become parallel to one another. Nice wide-legged stance here. Let's lengthen the spine, crown of the head away from the tailbone, and exhale. Hinge, fold between the thighs. Let the top of the head go. A little rocking side to side, massaging tissues now in this way. Inhale is going to lengthen us halfway. And as you exhale, walk your hands forward. So the core needs to engage, to come alive here to keep supporting front body. We're going to walk our hands forward, bring the shoulders over the wrists, and then lift both heels. Whoop, up onto the tiptoes we go, spiraling the heels in and the toes out. Go ahead and start to bend your knees to set the feet back down on the earth. So we're in a little bit of a crouch position with our arms extended forward and long. We can walk those hands back in now and keep walking them up toward meet each of our thighs. So the chest is low for a moment. We're using that bracing, that structure to help lift the torso in addition to the strength of the abdomen and the core. Finding ourselves making our way up into a goddess stance and then rocking side to side from here. So awakening, loosening, and enlivening the tissues in a way that keeps the nervous system calm. Once you're steady, shoulders are drawing back over the hips, bring a tucking of the tailbone to bring the pubic bone and the low ribs together. So it's a scooping of your belly in and up, a tailbone drawing under the body. We're going to release those hands now and extend legs, extend arms overhead. You can even lift the gaze. Full inhale breath. Exhale, sink your seat. Let the arms wrap around, ride that wave. Inhale, extend your legs, extend your arms. Exhale, bend the knees, gathering hands around, kind of scooping up the winds, the air as we hinge. One more time here. Getting a little bit of momentum. And as you inhale, the top of the breath, top of the stretch, bring the arms down into a T position, bring those right toes forward, and drop your left heel back. Preparing for Virabhadrasana, Warrior 2. It's an inhalation, shoulders feeling stacked over the hips, and an exhalation to bend into the front knee. Nothing changing in the abdomen. So really sense that you have an equal amount of space between your armpits and your hips on both sides of your torso here. Notice if you are in a hurry to reach forward, or if you're resisting and staying back. Let it feel soft and natural in the stacking of the bones. We're going to again float the heel, but this time only the right one, thank goodness. Bring that knee toward the back of the room, the back of the wide edge of your mat, and then float that heel back down. So it's a subtle self-adjustment to massage even more external rotation in that front thigh. Staying here with our breath for just 2 more, I promise. Feel the inhales filling you up, actively grounding you through your feet. The exhale settling you in, bringing softness, acceptance, and ease. 1 more breath cycle like that. Taking this back palm, flipping it up toward the sky, and cartwheeling that hand around. Frame your front foot, pivot on the ball joint of the back foot. We're going to push off of that place to step to the top of the mat, lengthen the spine, and fold. Uttanasana. Push down through the feet, sweep those arms out and up, lift your gaze. Exhale, hands to the heart, open the palms, mountain pose. Other side, as you inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Left foot stays, right foot goes back, right hand stays down. We're taking that twist, here it is. Reach the top hand up toward the sky, broaden those collarbones. And as you exhale, tucking thumb now into the hip crease. So level off the shoulders, straighten that front leg, and at the same time, imagine that you're using your hand, your palm, your thumb to guide your pelvis back. As the hand is pulling back, the crown of your head is lengthening away from that. So we're encouraging a diagonal stretch from the left half of the pelvis through the right shoulder. Crown of the head is reaching forward. You might notice that the big toe of your front foot wants to peel up. This is going to really challenge the balance. See if you can press the big toe down into the earth, more internal rotation of that front thigh while supporting yourself with your hand. 1 more inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and release that hand to the inside of the front foot. Walk your hands around to the wide edge of your mat, paralleling those feet. A lengthening of your spine, walking your hands forward and long here. Notice if you sense any collapsing at the inner arches of each foot. We want to encourage a lifting of the inner arch, a rolling to the outer edge of the pinky blade edge of each foot. And now keep walking those hands forward, finding a steady and stacked place for the shoulders over your wrists. When you're ready, float those heels. Lift your seat high up to the sky. Carefully and with control, angle the heels in, the toes out, and then start to bend at the knees as you return the feet toward the earth. Hands are going to walk back in, make their way. All kinds of sensations when we move slowly in that sense. Hands are going to come to the thighs, walking your arms up, stacking shoulders over the hips, and finding eventually that as we build the body into this type of alignment, again, we don't have to grasp, we don't have to work quite as hard to hold the pose. So once the hands feel light and they feel free, go ahead and extend legs, extend arms, lift your gaze. Expansion in all directions as you inhale. When you exhale, bend the knees. Arms are going to sweep low and around, scooping, gathering up, maybe even wrapping to opposite shoulders, giving yourself a hug. Inhale, straighten legs, straighten arms. Look up. Exhale, get low, let those arms sweep around. Last time like that, big inhale. And exhale, scoop low. This time as you inhale, you extend, you expand, you stand tall. The arms float down to a T position, left toes forward, right heel back, and we prepare once more for Virabhadrasana 2. So shoulders are stacking over the hips, equal length in both halves of the torso. Inhale to be tall, Exhale is a bending of that front knee. It's the only change. The hinging of the joints in that front leg, the rest of the body is going to stay soft yet strong. We settle into our sense of stillness here. Let's just really get into the front hip crease, that floating of your front heel, a little or a lot. Drive the knee away from you, and then with control, set that heel back down. Just notice that deep, deep, deep massage that we offer here in the hip socket at the pelvis. And notice how it changes the stance, your sense of stability. Observe what the breath does for the next full round in and out. Then as the next inhale comes, slip that back palm, cartwheel your hand up and around, frame the front foot, pivot to the ball joint of the back foot, and push off that place to step together, lengthen spine. Exhale to fold. Pushing down through the feet, reach those arms out and up, lift your gaze. Hands to the heart through midline. Open those palms, Tadasana, mountain pose. Take just a moment with your hands to your waist and bend one knee then the other, walk in place. Another moment to pause, specific for the sense of the nervous system. So we've been moving almost in slow motion this morning, really getting deep and giving the mind time to connect with those tissues, those experiences. So that can bring a sense of angst, and this is hard, and I gotta hold, and I gotta just tension, right? So rock it out, let yourself relax, take a moment to reflect at how much work we've already done, and then we're going to just now allow ourselves to layer this with the experience of breath and the experience of fluidity, and again, returning to the body's natural state of grace. So a little bit more at pace with the flow of our breath, 1 breath per movement. Exhaling, open the palms. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, swan dive and fold. Inhale, left foot lunge. Good, exhale, left palm stays. Right arm sweeps, take your twist. Exhale, walk your hands around, wide angle. Inhale, lengthen spine, walk hands forward, float those heels. Exhale, sink those heels, bend those knees, walk it back. Preparing to rise up when you're ready. Inhale, arms reach out, legs straighten. Exhale, sink it low. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. One more time, inhale, reach. And exhale, inhale, warrior 2. See? Marvelous. So now we're going to take this back hand forward, bring it forward and around, coming into our high lunge position. And then pivoting on the ball joint of the back foot there so that the pelvis can come all the way forward, shoulders are stacked over the hips. Squeeze the inner thighs together, get strong at the midline of the body. And we're going to take the hands down in a prayer position to the outside of that front leg. So from here, this left palm can rest at the thigh. The right arm is going to sweep behind us. And we just continue to revolve the spine, revolve the body. Lots of twists in our practice today as we, again, detoxify, get rid of excess. And now inhaling, come back to center. Shoulders stack over wrists. Coming out the way that we went in, ground your back heel and turn and open back to warrior 2. So eventually that as well is going to become a little more fluid. Let's straighten this front leg. Arms and legs stay straight as we extend beyond the big toe of that front foot for triangle pose, Trikonasana. Cartwheeling those hands using your props of any type to bring the earth closer to that bottom hand, stacking your wrists one on top of the other, straight line from wrist to wrist. Staying here for 3 rounds of breath. So we moved at pace and we're dialing it back. We're being slow. Staying deep, and just noticing all the different ways that the mind has to respond to the tempo of the practice. It's challenging when we're still because the mind runs away sometimes. It's challenging when it's fast because the mind just goes on autopilot. So let yourself get deep with your presence, with your understanding of this process. Gaze down at the big toe of the front foot. Push into that place to reverse your triangle. Bring everything up and back. Oh yeah. And now as you exhale, cartwheeling the hands, framing front foot, again, pivoting on the ball joint of the back foot. We're gonna step the feet together, lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold over the legs. Push down through those feet, reach out, rise up, lift your gaze. Hands through midline, heart center, open palms, Tadasana, mountain pose. Ride that next inhale, arms sweep out and up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, left foot stays, right foot lunge. Exhale, right hand stays, get ready to twist. Left arm reaches up to the sky. Exhale, turn, walk your way around to the wide edge of the mat and fold. Inhale, takes your spine forward, shoulders over the wrists, float those heels. Exhale, pivoting the feet, landing the heels. And if you choose to now, no hands at the thighs, sweep your arms out and up as you straighten your legs. 2 more times with your breath. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Warrior 2. Exhale. Yay. Back hand comes forward and around. Let's find that high lunge pose on this side, right hip coming all the way forward, squeezing the inner thighs, noticing the challenge of the balance. Back leg staying straight and strong. Prayer position with your palms and hands come down to the outside of your front thigh. Right hand can rest at that thigh, left arm sweeps behind. Finding a twist, let your gaze follow toward the back thumb. And keeping the pelvis steady, really encouraging the twist to come from the sternum, from broad collarbones. Inhale, return to center. Shoulders stack over the hips. You feel that alignment. And then exhale with control, we return. Warrior 2. Yes. Straighten that front leg. All limbs stay long as you reach. Go beyond the big toe of your front foot. And then cartwheel those hands. Triangle pose, Trikonasana, one straight line, wrist to wrist. Pausing here with the breath, letting the mind absorb, notice the tempo. And feeling, if you can, sensations of equal length from the armpit to the hip, even here. Very, very challenging to do. So what adjustments would you need to make? Where could you engage or expand to try to get equal measurements on both halves of the torso? Gaze comes down to the big toe of the front foot. Press through that point to reverse your triangle. Sweep everything up and back. And then exhale, hands cartwheel around, framing that foot, pivoting on the ball joint of the back, stepping your feet together, lengthening your spine, and exhaling your breath to fold. Push down through the feet, reach the arms out and up. Hands to heart center. Tadasana, mountain pose. The tempo goes and ebbs and flows, rises and falls, hands to the waist, walk in place, shake it out. Where's the mind? As we come back to this checkpoint, as we come back to this home base, do the thoughts shift into, oh gosh, what's next? And do we have to do it again? And oh my goodness, see what comes true and natural for you. And without judgment, set it aside. So the art of the practice, the art of the living in the present moment says, it doesn't matter if we've been on our mat for 10 minutes or 100 minutes. We're going to enter into the next breath cycle and the next movement as it is, with our breath and with however our body is feeling, one breath at a time. The past 100 minutes, not relevant. And if our mind stays in that place, we miss what this next movement will feel like. So exhale the breath. Let's ride this wave. Reach out and up as you inhale. Exhale, swan dive and fold. Right foot stays, left foot lunge, inhale. Exhale to prepare, left palm stays for your twist. Inhale, reach that arm up. Exhale, hand to the inside. Walk your way around, parallel those feet. So a little more fluidity. Inhale, lengthen, heels float. Exhale, knees bend, walk back. Arms sweep out and up as you rise. And then exhale, gathering energy. Inhale, just following your body's movement here. Finding these moments of freedom. Last time as you inhale and you're tall, before you exhale, we all meet in Virabhadrasana, Warrior 2. Back hand comes forward and up, high lunge. And right away with your exhale, keep revolving to the opposite side. Inhale back through center, high lunge. Exhale, turn and open, Warrior 2. Straightening front leg to prepare and going long beyond those toes into triangle. Gaze down, rise up, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel hands, low lunge. Inhale, step forward, lengthen spine. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Push down, rise up, lift your gaze. Exhale, hinge at hips, come right back. Uttanasana. Inhale, left foot stays, right foot lunge. Exhale, right hand stays as you prepare. Inhale, left arm sweeps, take your twist. Exhale, hand inside, walk your way around. Inhale, hands go forward, shoulders follow, heels float. Exhale, root those heels, guide your way back, seek glow. And just sweeping forward and around with your breath, with your energy. Maybe you're going a little bit faster or a little bit slower, but steady in your tempo, in your body's rhythm. Inhale, reach. Let's meet in Warrior 2. Inhale, back hand comes forward and up. Exhale, keep revolving, back we go. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, Warrior 2. Inhale, straighten front leg. Exhale, reach the body long, Trikonasana. Inhale, big stretch, all limbs. Exhale, take the gaze to the big toe. Inhale, reverse triangle, rise up. Exhale, cartwheel hands, low lunge. Inhale, step forward, lengthen spine. Exhale, Uttanasana, let it go. Push down, inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, heads to heart, and stay. Hands to the waist, shake it out. Okay. So let's go ahead now that the body is moved. You can kind of feel the pulsation, you can feel the energy flowing. And we want to sustain that. I'm going to go ahead and turn to face you as we work in poses with balance. So hands are going to return back to the waist. If you have a block nearby, or a book, or a Tupperware, or anything sturdy, go ahead and set that on the outside of your right foot. We're going to bend into this right knee. So the right leg is going to be our standing leg on the first side, bending into that knee and sweeping this left leg high up and over. So we're going to sink low into that standing leg, crossing high up at the thighs here and letting the foot come to that prop or to the earth on the other side. Now, the deeper you sink into your standing leg, the more of a shelf you create for that top thigh. Engagement is going to be the squeezing of the inner thighs. So we're not just setting them there, we're actually bringing them in as tight and close as possible. Arms are going to extend out in front of you. Left elbow under the right. Bending the hands, the backs of the hands can rest, or you can just hold opposite shoulders right here. And I love this just as that reminder to soften shoulders away from the ears, to feel the strength and the steadiness of the legs, the work in the core, strong spine, steady breath, and a quiet, relaxed face, jaw, eyes, gaze. Sink a little bit deeper. Feel how they help one another. The more you deepen, the tighter you can squeeze, and the more you can squeeze, the more you can sustain. And now we're going to rebound, unwind, let it go. Float that knee, float the arms, and with control, set the feet down. Tadasana, mountain pose. So we're coming back through to the other side. You can move that prop over. But really just bringing in a lot of compression, contraction, and twisting into our practice today. So every time we have these opportunities to really work into the tissues, not only does that help our health and wellness on a physical element, but of course, doing this type of work, helping to flush out the energy that we're holding as well. So anything that we don't need to have through our day that's blocking us from being our best selves. Stand into the left leg, give it a bend. Cross that right knee high up and over. And remember, this is about a squeezing and a wrapping. So toes are touching down to give you steadiness. We're focusing less on balance today, even though it's very much a balanced pose. I want you to have some sense of stability as much as possible and really work on this engaging and this strengthening of the legs. This is incredibly powerful for the body to work in this way. Arms are going to extend out in front of you, right elbow under left, bend the arms. Hands can fall to opposite shoulders, or you can take your traditional Garudasana eagle arm wrap if you prefer, palms coming all the way together. If hands are at the shoulders, it's just that quieting of the shoulders away from the ears so that the body can play in this spectrum of how could I possibly be working so hard and engaging so many muscles while checking in with a state of calm and ease. How does that even work? And it does. So let your mind go to those places. Keep getting lower, keep squeezing stronger. Yes, exhaling that breath. And then we'll inhale to uncurl, unwind, straighten arms, float that knee. And as the heel sets back down and the limbs are expanded, extended, you sense that flushing of energy, of circulation. Go ahead and shake it out. All right. So let's just make our way now down to the earth. We'll take our Malasana Yogi squat with that heels in, toes out stance that we've already practiced, this time in a shorter way. So if you're placing the feet approximately on the wide edges of your mat, go ahead and exhale. Your hands can melt down the thighs, start to sink your seat. Coming in nice and low, you can use your props that you might have nearby. Sneak them in. I used a box of cat food one time when I was practicing in the kitchen. It just works really well. So anything that is sturdy and handy, you can slide it in to give your body some support. Hands in prayer position, elbows toward the inner knees. And as the prayer position works down toward the direction of the sternum, the space of the heart, notice the elbows naturally broaden as they come into the same plane, the forearms making a straight line from elbow to elbow. And as they do this, they bring even a deeper widening and external rotation of the thighs. And we have that same opportunity to work in this juxtaposition. Oh my goodness, to work in this place of balance. I miss you guys when I'm tongue twisted and I can't hear you laughing. So we have a moment now again to work in a place of strength and of effort while also softness and ease. All of that is happening all at once, all the time. We just don't always take the time to notice. Release your hands, remove that prop, and use your hands behind you to find your seat and make your way down to the earth. Knees are going to open out wide, Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Remove the flesh from your sit bones, sitting nice and tall. Inhale, long spine. Hands can hold the tops of the shins or beneath the thighs or the calves. You can even hold on to the big toes of each foot if you choose. But finding a variation and expression that sustains that broad collarbones, the open heart, the open chest, while lengthening the crown away from the seat, feeling this lifting of the core, the abdomen is strong. And shoulder blades are on back body. So the purpose of this clasp is to bring some stability to the upper back. We want to really isolate that as we deepen into the seat, we keep the upper back in place, keep it aligned, all the while strengthening just by being here. Inhale, returning to an upright seat. Go ahead and lengthen your left leg out long. Sole of the right foot coming in toward the inner thigh. Another wonderful place to take back your strap, your towel, for Janu Shirsasana. Placing it around the ball joint of the extended leg. Encouraging obliques, sternum to aim in the direction of that straight leg, one side of the strap in each hand, an inhalation to be tall, and an exhalation to hinge at the hip. Working with the breath, fingertips can inchworm their way up along your prop. Not with the sacrifice of the broadness of the collarbones. So as we worked before to find an equality from armpit to hip on both sides, imagine that we could find the same equality, the same amount of space in front body as we have in back body. So just getting our mind around that, what does that even mean, right? So to avoid the idea of making our back body bigger while the front body gets smaller, and vice versa. We're not here to make a big dramatic back bend or front body opener. Find that equality and isolate the experience here in the midpoint. All right, return to your upright seat, bending that right knee. We're going to cross that foot to the outside of the straight leg, taking the seated spinal twist. So the ability to perhaps even spiral a little bit more deeply now. We're taking the balance out of the equation. Right hand behind you, left arm wraps around. Giving yourself a hug. You can bring that knee in close to the sternum in close toward the knee. Left leg is straight, the foot is flexed, and the crown of the head again, always constantly yearning to be taller, lighter, brighter, more space between each and every one of the vertebrae. Gazing out over the back shoulder. Inhale, take your gaze forward, keeps the legs as they are. Exhale, counter twist, hands to the other side. And let's keep going here a little bit more. So we're gonna roll to the outside of the left leg, all of it. Your hip, your left leg, your toes are gonna point to the wide edge of your mat for both feet. And that right foot that you had crossed over is now pointing away from you. So we're going to stand into the strength of that leg, lift our hip, and take a modified side angle. One straight line from wrist to wrist, really engaging the core here. Feel this big line of energy. Let's reach the right palm up over the head, stretch all the way down side body. And with control, as carefully as you can, lower down, have a seat. Uncurl and unwind, shake it out. Left knee bends, sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Janu Shirsasana, other side. Strap around the ball joint of the foot. Inhale to sit nice and tall. Exhale, engage your obliques here. Engage the core so that you bring a subtle rotation of your spine. Aim the sternum out over the thigh of that straight leg. One side of the strap in each hand, and so much work right here. So these shapes so often, you know, look a lot more simple than they are, and there's so many things happening. Strength, stretch, and therapeutically, all at the same time. working here with the breath, allow your mind to just dance around between whatever interests you within this landscape, how things are feeling, the thoughts that surface, where are we sensing the work, how is the breath moving? So the breath is a great indicator that we've gone too far, too deep, when we start to hold the breath or it becomes very shallow. And when we're seeking that sense of equality, right, on the side bodies and on front and back, we're always, again, seeking that sense of equality between effort and ease. When am I working too hard at my edge, or when am I really just checked out and not doing enough? Steady sensations, steady breath. Let's return. Bend that left knee. Point it up toward the sky and cross the sole of the foot to the outside of your straight leg. Seated spinal twist, left hand behind your seat. Right arm can reach tall here if that helps you to lift and to expand, or you can just simply wrap around and hold the knee in this way. So a couple of variations to offer for what you might need in your shoulders. Use the hand behind your seat as scaffolding. Continue to send the lumbar curve forward so the pubic bone rocks down. You feel it takes some work to be in this position. Keeping a straight, engaged front leg is going to help the pelvis be steady, be upright. And as you inhale, come back to center. Woo. Exhale, counter twist, let it go. Turn your gaze over the opposite shoulder. And then keep rolling. Point the toes from both feet toward the wide edge of your mat. Roll all the way over onto the right hip. Hand stays behind you for support. And when you inhale, stand into the feet. Lift side body away from the earth. Straight long line here. So lift up with an inhale breath, but then don't hold the breath. Hold your pose. Exhale that arm overhead. Stretch the body long through another inhalation. Feel expansive and vast. And when you exhale with control, lower it down, let it go. Doesn't the earth feel wonderful? Uncurl and unwind. Plant the soles of the feet. We're going to bring the seat closer to the heels, closer to the top of the mat. Feet are hips distance apart and hands extend out in front of us. Go ahead and exhale. Draw the chin in toward the chest. Tuck the tailbone under the body. Begin to curl your way down toward the earth like a caterpillar, massaging out the lumps and bumps along the way, the spine, any tension, any knots in the muscles. As soon as the shoulder blades touch down, let the back of the head rest. And keeping those knees bent, soles of the feet onto the earth here. We're going to go ahead and bring the hands down by the sides. Stepping the feet in closer toward your seat. The fingertips may brush the heels, they may not. It's an approximation. We're setting ourselves up for Setu Bandhasana bridge pose. Exhalation gathers the core, knits the low belly in, prepares. Inhalation stands into the feet, lifts the seat away from the earth. Start to peel the spine off of your mat to follow. So as the hips go higher, they float along with it. Another one of the bones of the vertebrae of the spine. Bone by bone, we start to feel lightness, feel floating, and shifting the steadiness and the stability into that place of the shoulder girdle. Notice the direction of the skull. Try to prevent allowing your chin from collapsing in toward your chest. You'll notice this if it feels difficult to breathe. Keeping the throat open, the palate softly driving toward the crown of the head. Inner thighs drawing toward one another. And an exhalation to come out the way that he went in, one bone at a time, returning to the earth. absorbing back into that neutral state of balance in front and back body. So really big, this one is a big and dramatic, vast difference from either side, from front and back body. And really just allow yourself to not only go there, but then to feel it when you're in that space. So we're going to repeat that bridge pose this time, working toward 5 of our own breath cycles. So if that feels like too much at this point in your practice, you have a couple of options. You could come up, come down into rest, and then regroup and join us once again. Or just notice how many breaths do feel right in your body today and let that be your practice. Rising with an inhalation, stand into the feet, lift your hips, peel your spine away. You're welcome to rock onto one shoulder then the other. Holding the wide edges of the mat works really well for shoulder stability and engagement. So we don't always have to go right for this clasp behind the low back, but if that's comfortably accessible for you, you're welcome to go there as well. Noticing, of course, if you take this variation, if the collarbones stay broad, so very often when we reach for the clasp, we have to bend the elbows to compensate, and there's a collapsing in the chest. You can hear that my breath has changed, my voice has changed from that alignment. So using it only if it serves you to lift higher, to expand more. And then exhaling to release, to relax, to come all the way down back to the earth. Floating your right leg up toward the sky. You can leave the strap away this time. Just take some inventory, some observation of the sensations at this point of our practice relative to how it was in the beginning. Some small circles here with the heel both directions. Notice if the receptors, the places you're feeling the sensations have changed. Crossing the heel above, beyond the midline of the body for just a moment, taking it back. Bending at that knee, half happy baby here, Ananda Balasana. A nice deep stretch. And this time, crossing the ankle at the knee, making the number 4 with your legs. We will again stand into the foot that is on the earth so that we can pick up pelvis. Shift it over toward the right side of the mat. So we've positioned our shoulders and our hips asymmetrically. Draw that knee in toward your chest. So your foot is going to float off of the earth here. We've got that figure 4, or for many of us, we know this as a reclined pigeon pose. And the reason we've scooted our hips over is because we're going to let ourselves drop and melt into a twist one last time. So that sole of the foot could come all the way to the earth here. The knee points up toward the sky. And the outside of your left leg completely meets the earth, or at least directs its energy in that way. Shoulders are heavy and grounded on both sides. Come back to center, come back to that figure 4. Stand into the foot to align hips and shoulders, and then unwrap, heel stretches toward the sky, leg floats out long. Maybe both legs stretch for a moment, shake it out. And we'll just close by balancing the other side, heel up toward the sky. Small circles, both directions. Notice how that feels. A bending of the knee for half happy baby. Gather that in by the ribs. And so nice to repeat elements of our practice in our physical body so that we can, again, just know that now we're in deeper layers. We're getting down into things that we wouldn't have been able to access the first time through. Make the number 4 across the ankle above the thigh. Stand into that foot to shift your hips toward the left. Knee gathers in toward the chest. Yours is your reclined pigeon pose. The foot hovers off of the earth, and then everything rolls over toward the right. Foot stamps down, knee points up. You can use your hand to give that thigh a little bit of support if you choose, or to hold the ankle if it's sliding. Shoulders stay heavy. There's a wonderful broadening of the low back, the abdomen, the belly. And with an inhalation back towards center, unwind. Straighten both legs out, align hips and shoulders, of course. Big stretch, arms up overhead as you inhale, body long. And then exhale, relax and release, sweeping those hands down by your sides. Let the feet go just beyond hips distance, moving any props out of the way. Palms turn up, arms at about a 45-degree angle. The eyes close. We let the body drop away. And perhaps a moment to reflect on the effort in your practice, the lessons that arose, so that we can better appreciate this moment of rest and this newfound sense of purity. Let yourself bask in the health and wellness of your whole being. Inviting the next breath to be deep and full. You exhale to completely surrender. And the subtle sensations of brushing thumbs and fingertips together. Feeling the messages that could so otherwise easily be missed. Circle wrists or ankles. Invite arms overhead, slide feet together. Again, stretch. Breathe in, grow long, awaken. And when you exhale, relax once more. Let yourself let go. The knees will bend, the soles of the feet set down. You're welcome to windshield wipe your legs side to side. Taking any other modes of transition to eventually make your way onto the left side of your body. Pressing the top palm down into the earth, lifting yourself back to an upright seat. Floating shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders, and arriving the way we began. Hands at heart center, palms pressed. Take a moment to notice how you feel. The focus of the practice today was the practice. And so may the work that you've done and the results that you've created be a reminder to seek balance, to move slowly, and to go with the flow. Bowing chin toward the chest, we honor light within ourselves and one another by saying namaste. Namaste.